Hello students, welcome to all in this new lecture of pulley and block system problem. In the last lecture, as you all know that we have discussed about how the blocks are sliding on the surface which is inclined at a particular angle, and also we have discussed the horizontal plane problems. In this particular problem we will discuss about it, how we can find out the acceleration of the blocks, how we can find out the tension in the string, and how the pulley block system is actually working. So we will discuss in detail with the help of this particular example, right? So there is a situation, there is a two block M1 and M2. M2 is the block which is situated at the inclined plane which is at angle 30 degree, and we have adopted two masses as M1 and M2. The mass of the M1 block having a 6 kg and the mass of the M2 having a mass is equal to the 5 kg. We have taken it, and the surface on which M2 is situated, that is the rough surface, having a coefficient of friction is 0.5. So what we have to do here, we have to find out the particular pulley block system, the blocks which is connected with the string, they will move together or not. First question is from my side, and second, if they are moving, what will be the acceleration, and if the acceleration is with both blocks, what will be the tension in the string. These all the things we have to discuss it. So we have to start it. Firstly, before going to the solution of the question, we have to discuss the concept behind it, which type of concept which is working on that. So you know very well, in the case of friction chapter, I have already told you all, whenever a net force acting on the body is greater than the maximum friction force value, always the block will slips on the surfaces. That is the concept here. So before going to the solution, we have to justify here, we have to think about it. We have to think about it, the net force which is acting on the block and the friction force maximum value, and after that we will get a solution of the question. Okay all? So you know very well, if we are talking about the net force acting on the blocks along a surface, you know very well, here the surface is at an angle, this is the vertical surface. What we have to do, we have to assume it is a plane surface. How we can do it? हमने करना क्या है, m1 मास पर एक ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स होगा, that is the weight m1g, और एक ये फोर्स जो एक्ट करेगा along the surface, that will be the component of the weight of m2g, because this is the angle 30 degree, that will be also 30 degree, and that will convert it into m2g cos of 30, and this will be the m2g sin of 30. You know that very well, m2 is 5 kg and m1 is 6 kg, and the surface on which m2 is situated having a friction coefficient 0.5. Here is a static friction coefficient is given to you, kinetic friction coefficient is not given to you. You have to assume it, the static friction coefficient and kinetic friction coefficient is same, right? But you know, in general, kinetic friction always less than the static friction maximum value, right? So what will be the value of m2g sin 30? m2 is the 5, and we are taking g, value of the g is 10 meter per second square. That will be converted into 50 into 1/2 sin 30 ka value, and that will be the 25 Newton, and this will be what, 6 into 10 will be the 60 Newton. अब हमें करना क्या, यहाँ पर दोनों जो strings हैं, both strings we have to assume like a plane surface. अगर हम इन दोनों string को ऐसे plane कर दें, तो एक ब्लॉक यहाँ होगा and एक ब्लॉक यहाँ होगा. इधर की तरफ लग रहा होगा 60 न्यूटन का फोर्स, और इधर की तरफ लग रहा होगा 25 न्यूटन का फोर्स. So the total force acting on the blocks without considering the friction is what? Net force along the surface without friction. अगर हम बात करें तो कितना है, 60 minus 25 will be the 35 Newton. Yes or no? अब फ्रिक्शन में जो कॉन्सेप्ट हमने सीखा था, what we have learned in the friction chapter, if the maximum value of the friction is more than this value, then the particular external force will not able to slip the objects on the surface. So what will be the concept here? Maximum value of the friction we have to find. What is the formula? Mu s into n. स्टैटिक फ्रिक्शन कोफिशिएंट इनटू नॉर्मल रिएक्शन। अब सबको समझना है ये वाला ब्लॉक का कोई नॉर्मल रिएक्शन नहीं है, राइट, केवल सरफेस यही है जो अपोज कर रही है। तो इसी सरफेस का हम लोगों को क्या करना है, वैल्यू निकालनी है। व्हाट विल बी द नॉर्मल रिएक्शन हियर, तो ये नॉर्मल रिएक्शन यहाँ पर एक्ट करेगा परपेंडिकुलर टू द सरफेस। अब नॉर्मल रिएक्शन को अपोज कौन करेगा, फोर्स, दिस M2G cos 30। तो यहाँ पर वैल्यू रखेंगे 0.5 इंटू एन की वैल्यू हो गई M2G मीन्स 50 cos 30 and this will be the 12.5 into root 3 and this will convert into 21.65 Newton, right? अब यहाँ पर सब लोग बहुत फोकस करें because you know very well the net force acting on the body and the friction maximum value, if you are comparing both things, this is more than this value. 35 value is more than the 21.65. That means because F net force is greater than the friction maximum value, block will move, or you can say they will accelerate. Block accelerate करेगा, इसके पास भी एक acceleration होगा downward, or the acceleration on this particular M2 block will also be there in the upward direction. Sorry, this will be the upward because you know very well okay, so because this is the 60 Newton force, this is the 25 Newton force, so net force 35 Newton जो कि इस तरफ लगने वाला है, तो block will slip in this direction. The acceleration of the M2 block will be in upward direction. How we can find out the acceleration here? इसको find out करने का क्या तरीका होगा? Acceleration निकालने के लिए हमको क्या करना क्या पड़ता है? Net force divided by total mass करेंगे. What will be the net force here? Net force हमने अभी निकाला 35, but because 35 Newton force upward आ रहा है, block इधर की तरफ slip कर रहा है, तो friction force किधर की तरफ act करेगा? In the downward direction. Means the friction force will act in this direction and this will be the kinetic friction will be acting in the downward direction, which is having a value of 21.65. That means acceleration is 35 minus 21.65 with friction हम consider करेंगे, and total mass, because in this problem this is 5 kg, this is 6 kg, and when we add these things the 5 plus 6 will become 11 kilogram and we will get the value 35 and here 13.35 upon 11 and approximately 1.21 meter per second square will be the answer here. That is the acceleration of the block problem, right? And easily we can calculate the tension in the string. How we can calculate the tension in the string? With the help of the concept here. Because you know block is moving in downward direction, the tension will equal to the tension M1G minus T is equals to M1A. You can easily calculate the tension in the string, right? So this is the methodology by which we can calculate the acceleration in the problem. So we have to analyze here what happens when we run this problem here. Okay all? So we have to discuss. When we run the problem, you know very well, the particular problem is moving in this direction. The pulley block system will moving in this direction. Means the acceleration of the M1 block, the acceleration of the M2 block is nothing but 1.19 meter per second square. And also we have calculated theoretically 1.21 meter per second square. Still we have taken the value of G is equals to 10 meter per second square, not 9.81 meter per second square, right? And also the tension in the string will be the 51.66 Newton. You can easily find out it here. So this is all about the things. You know very well, when the problem, when M1 is at rest, when M2 is at rest, the velocity of the M1 will be 0 and M1 is situated at a particular height at this level. When we run the problem, the M1 block achieves a velocity. जैसे से time increase कर रहा है, the velocity of the M1 block increases also. So this is all about the pulley block problem questions. We have to understand one most important thing here. If we increase or decrease the inclination, what happens with the acceleration here? सो हम करने क्या वाले हैं, इस एंगल ऑफ इंसिलेशन को चेंज करेंगे, एंगल ऑफ इंक्लिनेशन को, और ये समझने की कोशिश करेंगे व्हाट हैपेंस विद दिस वैल्यू ऑफ एक्सीलरेशन, इट इंक्रीजेस और डिक्रीजेस. आई एम नॉट चेंजिंग द फ्रिक्शन कोफिशिएंट, आई एम नॉट चेंजिंग द मासेस m1 and m2 here, I am only changing the inclination angle and we will observe it here. हमें पता करना है कि एक्सीलरेशन की वैल्यू में कितना चेंज आ रहा है और करस्पॉन्डिंग टेंशन स्ट्रिंग में कितना चेंज आ रहा है, राइट. तो कर सकते हैं, बहुत आसान है. देखो इधर सब लोग, हम लोगों को करना क्या है, एंगल ऑफ इंक्लिनेशन को बढ़ा रहे हैं, हम एक बड़ी वैल्यू ले रहे हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल हमने 56.1 डिग्री वैल्यू ले लिया, एंगल ऑफ इंक्लिनेशन में बढ़ाया. तुम लोग देख सकते हो एक्सीलरेशन की वैल्यू डिक्रीज हो गई, 0.41 मीटर पर सेकेंड स्क्वायर हो गया, और टेंशन का वैल्यू 56 हो गया. इज इट क्लियर और नॉट? एंड इफ वी डिक्रीज द एंगल ऑफ इंक्लिनेशन, अगर हम एंगल ऑफ इंक्लिनेशन डिक्रीज कर दें, 15.3 डिग्री कर दिया हमने, तो बताओ सब लोग, टेंशन की एक्सीलरेशन की वैल्यू 2.02 मीटर पर सेकेंड स्क्वायर हो गई. एक्सीलरेशन इंक्रीज कर गया और द टेंशन की वैल्यू कितनी हो गई, 46.67. इट इज डिक्रीजेस. इज इट क्लियर और नॉट? व्हेन वी रन द प्रॉब्लम वी विल गेट द motion in this direction. So we have covered this problem, right? And in the next lecture we will cover more and more these type of concepts. I hope this video helps you in the concept of the pulley and block problem, and this is all about the video and all about the class, and we will learn more and more concept in the next videos. Thank you so much for watching the video, and we will meet in the next video. Thank you so much.